Hello there. Once again, Santon from Antonio Bay. Good morning. It is a Sunday morning, and it's time to dig through some comic books. As you guys know, I'm doing short boxes now instead of long boxes. I hate long boxes. So we're just going to pack a short box and see what we put in there. We're going to start the day off kind of a banger. One of the few comics I have that is a key anymore. I don't have much for keys. I lost a lot of my keys. But this is All-Star Comics number 58. First appearance of Power Girl. So it's one of the few that's still bagged and boarded in here. Looks like we got Phase 1. I'm not sure who publishes that, but I'm curious. Black and white. Anyway, this box looks like a mostly miscellaneous stuff. Phineas, Magician for Hire. Not sure where that one came from. Good Old Mage by Matt Wagner. This looks like a promo issue. Doesn't even look like an actual issue. Hawk and Dove. I think it's from the miniseries. No, it's not from the miniseries. Number 4. I don't know. Anytime I see these old Hawk and Dove covers, I love them. I don't know what the deal is or why they got drawn the way they did. And some of them are like Liefeld covers and stuff like that. They look fantastic. I've always liked those. I think these are various books that I've picked up from when I was across. My wife and I drove across to see her grandmother in North Carolina last year. And stopped at, what was the store called? Big used entertainment stores, and they had tons of comics for 35 cents, 50 cents. I think I did pretty good hitting those places. A Chromie X-Men Alpha from the Age of Apocalypse. Keep a lot of those. When I bought a collection from a comic book store, there was a lot of those in there. Justice Machine. These I usually have to track down online. I am never lucky enough to run into Justice Machine stuff while I'm out in the wild. If I do see them, it's in a back bin, and they want almost nothing for them. So I've got a pretty good run of Justice Machine in all throughout my collection. Whenever I see them, I grab them. They were a book I discovered. Ben Franklin's. You guys ever remember these stores? Five and Dimes. And they would sell comics in like bags, like 3 comics in this bag for $1. And you didn't really know what they were. And that's where I first encountered Justice Machine and a host of other independent titles. And I just remember being fascinated by it. Because I didn't know that there was any other comics other than the big 2. This is a special. I don't care. I only have maybe one issue of Action Comics, and it's this one. It's the one where Lois actually figures out that Clark is Superman, and his secret identity is like dismantled, and they proceed with their relationship from there. It's kind of interesting. Fangs of the Widow, number 6 or number 5. It's a black and white one, or color. Looks like it's all black and white. This is a wild book. I don't know if I can show you all that on there. But Ground Zero Comics. I've picked up quite a few issues of Black Widow, or of Fangs of the Widow. It's also a hard book to find just because of its name. You will only find Black Widow books when you look for it online. But Widow, and she's like a spider creature, and she had her own action figure, and I've got it. It's a very interesting and gory and strange independent title from the 90s. Yeah. Another issue of the Mage, number 3 and number 4. And it looks like number 2 and number 1. Most of these I got from my friend Scott. He sent me a box of comics a while back, last year actually, and it was full of all sorts of goodies. And he was just thinning out his collection to make more room. And he sent me just a nice big old box full of books. and I was very, very pleased. But that is, I think, where most of the Mage stuff came from, because he knows I was a Mage fan back in the day. We always wanted to pull off that as a Halloween costume. I think he finally did. I don't think I ever did, because I couldn't grow a beard. I can grow a beard. I choose not to. I can't stand the way it feels. Just couldn't do it. I get about yay far, and then the hairs start to touch each other. No. Anyway, Scott's stronger than me. He grew the beard and pulled off the Mage outfit, if I remember correctly. It's been a few years. Silent Hill. There's one I don't see very often in comic form. Who made this? Oh, IDW. Ooh, here's a Mage cover I don't remember. That's fancy. It's got like this clear thing that goes over it. Fancy schmancy. And then that's Mage under Image. Mage was also under Comico before that. This was the hero discovered. Those other ones were the hero defined. Just as a hero develops and becomes, well, from being found as a guy and to being turned into the hero that he is. It's a cool story. This is a weird set. Dart number 1. I've done a couple videos. I've at least one video on Dart before. It's a short mini series. The art is extremely weird, very exaggerated, almost caricature type art. But it's about superheroes and an action figure manufacturer who's making figures of them, and they put some other hero from another town in their group like it's a team member, and they did not want to work with that person. It was funny. If you've ever seen the movie The Specials, it was a lot like that, only, image wise instead of Rob Lowe. I'm slightly dying. Anyway, Angela number 1. Some of these, sometimes I love Todd's stuff, and this Greg Capullo and things like that. Sometimes it's that Spawn style. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes it's so busy that you got to look at it to even realize what you're looking at. And sometimes I love that, and sometimes I find it, like, in the right settings, it's cool. In some settings, it's not cool at all. This is 22 Brides number 1. A comic that I had barely heard of as far as that goes. But it holds the origins and the first appearance of one of my favorite comic book characters from the weird independent scene of the 90s, which is Painkiller Jane. Another character that I have, I think, 5 different variants of the action figure. I always buy a Painkiller Jane figure when I see it. And Painkiller Jane originated in 22 Brides number 1. Did not know that for the longest time. Cutting edge parody, yes. Avenge-A-Blade. This is like all the bad girl stuff from the 90s and stuff wrapped into one book. Blends of characters. It's awesome. Transformers number 5. I think this is the only issue I have of Transformers anymore. And it's the one I keep because I love this cover. This is in my top 5 comic book covers of all time. Because, well, Shockwave is horrifying. Like, always. Anytime they ran into Shockwave in the cartoon or anything like that, I was like, yeah, he's a scary robot. Another fantastic cover is the Incredible Hulk, She-Hulk Pulp Fiction cover. I love this cover. Absolutely cool, beautiful cover. Back when She-Hulk was likable, before they made her really unlikable. She was still funny. Like, it was great. And the character didn't take itself too seriously. It was awesome. Velocity. one of my favorite Image type looks on a character. So when Image was cranking out all their teams, and it was all Youngblood and this and that and Wetworks, and I still thought that Velocity stood out as looking really good, like a really original design that I liked. I got a Wildstorm swimsuit issue. I have Desperado Primer. I don't know what that is. I guess this is like a whole bunch of little bitty short. It's those 1 and 2 page intro stories to other books that are coming out. This feels like it should be put in another box with other stuff. This is Slave Girl Comics. This is one of those fantastic reprint covers from like the 40s. And this is Eternity Comics, but this is a classic Good Girl from the 40s. It's black and white, I believe. Yes. But a lot of those, I just always snag those because I love them. This issue pops up a lot in my collection, just sprinkled out. X-Mutants #1 from Malibu. I have all the X-Mutants stuff. Like, I have this issue a lot. And I know X-Mutants came from Eternity Comics and a bunch of other comics before that. But I still love the Malibu version. And this, the way I met the X-Mutants was the video game from Sega Genesis. And this is the cover of the video game. Which is not a great game, but it's how I discovered the X-Mutants. So anytime I see that cover, I buy it. And I don't feel bad about that. Stigmata from Entity Comics. That is a hardback. That's very stiff. Comico Grendel. I don't know much about Grendel, but I have quite a few issues of it floating around in different places. Top Cow, The Darkness. Heavy Hitters, Epic Comics, Terrorists, misspelled somehow. The Magdalena. Top Cow and Daredevil. Some sort of crossover book. Not familiar, but it looks interesting. Mike Spillani's Mike Danger. I've run into a few of these. Usually kind of interesting. It's like a spy book. Savage. I don't know what that word is. Savant Garrard. I don't know. Exiles. This is a Malibu Comics title after Marvel had bought them and ruined them. But I did like this series a lot because it's Exiles characters, Malibu characters, Ultraverse characters. With a blend of Marvel Comics characters, like, obviously. This is Cayman. This is not Abomination. I thought it was Abomination at first. It's actually Cayman. And he's from Freaks. Malibu Comics Freaks, the Ultraverse. Another issue of The Darkness. Has more of those Todd McFarlane looking really busy pages. An issue of Star #1. Image title. I remember seeing them everywhere and kind of being interested when they first came out, but I never did buy one. And I ended up getting it later for 50 cents in a bin. Grendel #10. Ash Zero. Ash was a story about a firefighter who became a superhero with all flame-based powers. I don't know that it was wildly popular, and I want to say it was like they made a comic based on some character. Like you just submitted a character, and if it won, you got a comic book made out of it. And I think that's where that came from. Tales of the Phoenix. It's an AP press. And in this case, that means Antarctic Press. Sometimes it means lots of different things. Prototype #7. One of my least favorite of all the Malibu Ultraverse titles. David and Goliath from Image. Not sure. Charleston Comics. All New Yang. just yang it right in there. Team Yankee from First. We're getting into some of the nice, weird stuff now. Exiles number 6. I'm pretty sure I got a full run of the Malibu Marvel Exiles somewhere. Star number 2. Solar, Man of the Atom. And that's about the only one of the Valiant books that I really could read and get into at all. Like, I tried to like Valiant comics really hard, and they're not as terrible as I originally thought they were, but Solar, Man of the Atom, in my opinion, is the highest of them. If you like stuff like Nexus, that's like all space and weirdness and stuff, you'll be all right with Solar. Newman, number 4. Or, you know, I'm going to complain about that font. I am not sure what that says. Is it Omega Men? Is it Newman? Why would I take the time? That takes a lot of time to figure out what the hell that says. I'd have to open the book. Archangel Studios, the Red Star. Seems like I ran into a lot of Cold War era Soviet looking comics. I don't know why somebody made like a genre about that, but they did. Battle Hymn. Battlestar Galactica. Dynamite stuff. Seems like a weird cover for Dynamite. Starborn, and it has Stan Lee referenced on the cover. I don't know. Looks like some sort of promo book. Grendel 6 with a sticker on the cover. Sometimes, you know, that used to just fry my mind that people would put a price sticker directly to the cover of the comic. I no longer care. If that makes it so I can afford this book, fine. You're not going to go charge $6 a piece for them on eBay if they got the sticker on them. And now it's in the hands of somebody who will actually probably mess with it, read it, at least look at it. Eclipse Comics True Love number 1. If I remember right, this book is kind of expensive, like kind of valuable. But I happened to stop by while I was at work. We were running up an hour away from home in another town, and we had a chance to stop and take a break. And I ran into a store, a big flea market, and this was sitting there. And so I bought it, absolutely. I was like, I don't care if it's on company time. A beautiful cover from Danger Girl. I love that cover. Cinder and Nera, issue number 1. I have tried to reclaim some of my Cinder comics. There's not a lot of them. I think there's only like maybe 5 issues out there of Cinder that I'm aware of. Magnus Robot Fighter. Dynamite Comics Miss Fury. Miss Fury is actually an old comic book character. I did not realize how old of a comic book character that was until I started running across covers from the 40s and stuff. Mystic number 32. I'll probably grab that just because of the Jungle Girl cover. I do love me some Jungle Girl covers. It's early. It's hard to say stuff. Upshot Comics looked weird, but it was Fight Girls, but had Frank Cho. So, yeah. Evangeline, number 0. Gen 13, number 28. I feel like this box is really mixed up, and it really needs to I need to go through it and put everything where it goes instead of just packing it back in a box. Like, I know I have a Gen 13 section somewhere in my collection. I do love me some Gen 13. And I'm kind of amazed that series has, like, not become more popular, but, like, of all the books of that era that have gone up in value, nobody wants to touch Gen 13 for some reason. That seems weird. Coven, number 6. I do grab Coven covers when I see them. They are... I can't remember. They're not... I think they're Awesome is the company that makes them. Awesome Comics or something like that. But they got really cool art in them. I've done a few videos on Coven books. Second generation iteration of Wildcats, I was not a big fan. I didn't really care. I was kind of burnt out on Image stuff and Wildstorm. But I could not deny that that run had some of the coolest, most beautiful covers done. Like, I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Eternity's version of Dinosaurs for Hire, probably more likable than the Malibu version, which came later, which was very immature and trashy and a lot of fun. Issue number 6, Dinosaurs for Hire. Shuriken. Who is the publisher here? Doesn't matter. It's the 80s. Ninjas were the thing. So you were going to get Ninja Comics. This is whispered by First. This is just straight up Ninja by Eternity. Ninja books was a big deal. Oh, here's another Shuriken team up. This is Eternity Comics. The other one's probably Eternity. Vogue, another character from Image that I thought had a really original look, even though, like, just look at that. That's messed up. Rob, I like your work, Rob. But sometimes I have to just cringe at it because it's like, why does it look that way? Maxi Mage number 1. This is one I also used to have a ton of. When I bought my comic book collection, well, it was inventory, not collection. I had probably 30 issues of Maxi Mage number 1. Ultra Klutz. If you like gentle parody, a loving parody of Ultraman, Ultra Klutz is a great book for you. It's done with a lot of love and respect, and Jeff Nicholson is the guy who wrote it. He made some little cartoons of Ultraman stuff on YouTube, which doesn't have near enough views. More people need to go watch it. And more people should be looking at his book, because that was great stuff. Epsilon Wave. This is one of those odd books you'll always see from independent comics, but ones that you should grab. Amethyst, Princess of Genworld, number 1. DC book, but I love the whole theme and feel of the series and the book. It's fantastic. It's a little girl who, I think while she's sleeping, crosses over into a magical world and is a fighting grown princess woman. And the art in these, it reminds me a lot of the old like Thundercats series. That's what it's done like, and it's fantastic. Very good. It's got a lot of nostalgia packed into it. It's got a very, like I said, just a very 80s fantasy vibe too. It's the best. I've heard DC is actually still doing stuff with it occasionally. I see Amethyst being brought into the modern era, but I don't find any of that interesting. I just like the vintage stuff, and I think that's the whole 12-issue miniseries. Another issue of Gen 13, issue 49. Gen 13 got weird and got off the rails when they started doing like anime covers and just weirdness. I didn't think it was that good. Gen 13 number 5, one of the best covers of the series. Right after this one, which is what issue number 1. This is one of my favorites. I love the Pulp Fiction covers, and this is one of the best. It's just Roxy, live action Roxy in the Pulp Fiction covers, Gen 13. But that is a fantastic cover. What a brilliant, fun, clever pop culture reference to everything that was going on in the 90s. So love that. I'm not even sure what series. It's later She-Hulk. It's number 28. 36. I still grab She-Hulk stuff when I see it because, I mean, I do love the character. I don't love all the directions I've seen the character go in the last few years. But some of these were still pretty cool. X-Men 41. This must be unsorted stuff from videos that I did, because pretty sure I closed out the X-Men run of comics with some of these issues, including this one, which I have several copies of for some reason. Issue 33 was a good X-Men cover. Original series. I don't have hardly any Uncanny anymore. The first real world version of issue of X-Men I ever bought that wasn't like X-Men Adventures or anything. 35. 36. It's the complete Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, which I complained profusely about how much I dislike the art, but how much I love the story. And I think there was a set in the last box I did. I've got sets of them things laying everywhere. Justice Society. I think I did the whole series a year back or so. It would have been before my kid was born. So would have been last year, definitely. I don't remember exactly when that was. But it's a full run. But it's a full run of, I think it was 12 issues. No, part 6 of 8. If I'd read the cover, it would help. I probably knocked it out in 2 videos. Had that whole series done. A big, thick trade of Gen 13. Is this the one that, like, one issue was 3 different issues? No. This is an actual trade of the first 5 issues. Another Gen 13 #1, if you can believe it. Then they got these covers is what started to suck and ruin the weird anime stuff. Gen X, Gen 13, banger. Total banger book. Fantastic. Issue 42. It's cover everybody seemed to like when it came out. Quite a bit of Gen 13 sprinkled in here. Ordinary Heroes. That was just a mini series, which I don't think I've ever seen issue 1 of. Another one of the original series covers that I really liked because it had a lot of Laura Croft influence to it. So it was issue 13 that there was 3 different issues of 13. Actual different content, which is super bizarre. It was chock full of crossovers from Bone to the Ninja Turtles to Spawn. I think even Batman was in there. Yeah, 13A. It's another one. I don't think I have all 3 issues individual, but I do have a big trade paperback of them, which is nice. Pretty good section of Gen 13s here. This is issue 21. Box is getting almost full. It's 22. 23. I loved the humor of this book. And that brings us up to another one of my top 5 all-time favorite comic book covers. Gen 13, number 14. Just the Roxy going to school cover. Absolutely love that. It's beautiful. It's cute. It's fun. It's very 90s. Very much of its time. Another issue, number 5. Number 12. This was a popular one. I remember Wizard promoting some of this stuff, like out the wazoo. Another one of those. This was another really fun one, was the pirate cover. I loved the pirate cover. Original miniseries. Number 4. 29. Now we're heavy into the Gen 13. Another issue 50. A couple different covers of that. 0, but I can't tell if it's from the mini series, like the startup series, or I think it's the startup series. So is that. I think the complete, because it came out in a 5-issue mini series, and then Then it started the regular series, and then that regular series branched off into other things. And I'm pretty sure the easiest way to tell is if it's got the little squiggly in the 13. That's the original miniseries. What they're thinking with some of that stuff. Some of their covers were just dumb. They started to get these, like I said, weird, kind of blocky anime guerrilla style stuff, and those are the books that I didn't care for as much. The interiors were still done pretty much the same. Another Gen 13, but it doesn't look funny. This must be later stuff that I probably got in a lot when I was buying the older stuff. The Star Run Makita. Books set in the Cold War era. Baltimore. Does not look interesting to me. DC Vertigo, 100 Bullets. I don't usually touch DC Vertigo. I don't care for it. I think the only books I ever read from them were the Vamps, the first Vamps 6-issue miniseries. Shadowhawk Supreme. A couple of real winners. Vikings. History Channel. Probably based off one of their stupid shows. Thick as Thieves. Or Thief of Thieves, or whatever that is. Something without a cover. Why I have that. Black Plague, or the Plague Widow. Some more DC Vertigo. And then something that's still sealed. Final Fraction, First Impact, #1. Don't know what that is. But that is definitely a sealed box. So that's that. Another one for the pile. There's another one for the pile. Anyway, thank you guys for spending a half an hour on a Sunday morning with me, just digging through comics and appreciating them. And I appreciate you guys, and thank you for watching. I will catch y'all later. You have a good week. Bye.